caught that.
Live.
Yay.
Action.
Hi, action.
We are live.
We are live. Hi, everybody. Happy Hump Day. Kate,
Yeah,
it
of
is
course
Hump
it
Day.
is.
That's right.
We have nobody yet.
Nobody?
Nobody.
Oh, they'll all watch on replay.
Okay.
That's right.
I actually sent a warning note.
Oh, okay. Oh, we have one now.
Patrick's sewing today.
That's
Oh.
right, exactly.
Everybody's going to tune in just to see that.
No, I don't
Now
know
we have
about
10.
that. Yeah. Well, welcome and happy. I already said that.
Hump Day.
Yeah, that's a pretty
Happy
bad-
Wednesday.
Hey, that's right. So just some quick announcements. We got a ton to get to today. Paula and Kate are going to do your cutting instructions for that magnificent quilt over there. Can't wait for that.
Sewing
The
bee.
sewing bee quilt. That's right. A magnificent bee.
I'm
That'd
actually
be
really
perfect.
excited about that quilt. It's
Yeah.
so pretty.
Yeah, that sounds fun. I mean, it is fun. It's going to be great. You guys are going to have a blast.
And you don't
we
get
are.
to sew any of it.
I know, huh?
Nope,
Yeah.
you're banned.
I am banned.
These blocks are a little bit smaller.
That's for sure. Exactly. And Kate had to unsew everything I sewed on. When
Well,
did we
we're
do
not going to
this?
tell anybody
It was
that.
on a day last week.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the
wasn't
day that
yesterday.
Paula was here because she was your
Oh,
unsewer
that's
that
right.
day.
That's a good point.
Your personal
Exactly.
assistant?
That's right.
Yeah.
So we do have some quick announcements. We sent out a email today on all of our used machines that we have available, and they're flying out the door. So
Oh my
if
gosh,
you,
yes, they are.
yeah,
They are.
exactly. If you have any interest in any update to your sewing room, it is a great time to do it. Again, we've got some really, really good deals. We've got Destinies, we've got Altairs, we've got Solarises still, but they are moving out of here fast. We did
We got
sell.
multi-needles.
We do have multi. Well, the multi.
We had one, it's gone.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
sold.
So we
We
don't
have a lot
that
of
anymore.
bananas too.
Yeah, we do have a lot of Berninas. So
It's been a busy
Yeah.
morning.
And it has been a very busy morning.
Yep.
Mhm.
So don't wait. If you have any interest in that, please give us a call, email us, however you want to reach out. Just get a hold of us because we do have some really good things going on right now for your sewing rooms. So
If you did not get the email, just give one of the stores a call and we can update you.
that's right. That's
And we
for
can
sure.
actually forward it to you too
Yeah.
if you want to.
Yes,
see it.
exactly. If you want to see all the good stuff. We did Bernina Club this morning. Thank you for all who participated in that. I will be sending the email out for that right after live. So we'll
Recording,
get
right?
that. That's what I meant.
Okay.
Yeah, the email for the recording. That's not what I said.
You said the email.
Sort of.
yeah,
You kind of sort of said it.
Yeah.
It's sort of, kind of.
I was just verifying that that's what you were saying.
I was on a roll. And my mic can't keep up sometimes. So
I
It's okay.
can't keep
We're
up
with you. We're with you.
What else? There was another thing I had in my head.
The kits came in for the Kimberbell event with Amanda, which is a week from Saturday. It is called the 80s Rewind. So if you are on the list for that event, you should be contacted, or we have shipped out your kits to you. If you are still wanting to get signed up, it's not too late. You may or may not get your kit in time. But you can always get the recording and do the event. You can still join Amanda live, and then you could do the projects after your kit comes in.
That's fun. You guys will love that, by the way. It is actually very fun. I remember the 80s.
Remember the 80s.
Remember the 80s? Paula?
This was
There-
when
I
I
do.
grew up.
That's
I don't know
Same.
what year. I think you grew up in the 70s, right?
Well,
Like-
depends on your version of growing up.
When did you graduate?
I haven't grown up yet.
I graduated 85.
I graduated 84.
Okay. So yeah, we did a bit of growing up.
I graduated in 83.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're from England.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're about the same age.
That's right. Exactly.
We did a good bit of growing up in the 80s.
We did.
Yes, we did.
Growing up,
The
yeah.
music in the 80s was awesome.
No idea.
It
That's
still is
right.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's all I listen to.
Yeah, same.
That's right.
Wanda Comment Sold is coming Friday.
Yes.
This
Super
Friday.
excited.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. That is another good day.
Yep.
We're gonna have fun on Friday. We've got our comment sold sale. That'll be a lot of fun. And again, we got a lot of stuff there. So we've got some new stuff and
Yeah.
some
New
fabrics and all kinds
discounted
of things.
fabrics,
Yep.
some pre-cuts.
You should see some of those.
The table is
By the way,
full.
the new fabric Kate brought in. She must be nesting.
I hope not. I hope not.
Might be time for more grandkids.
Any more grandkids in my family.
That's do have a giveaway also. So this is a drink bag. And it's for, you could put a flask in it, I guess.
A lot of minis in there.
A lot of minis, that's true. That'd be very fun.
It's pretty cute.
It is very cute.
Little zipper
so
bag.
it's got little martini glasses and margarita glasses and all kinds
Cute.
of glasses. And this is going to Karen McPherson.
Yay, Karen!
Congratulations to you. We'll send that down to the Littleton store for you. And anything else?
I don't believe so.
Are you guys going to cut first, or are we going to sew first?
We are going to cut first.
Cut
We're going to
first.
work on
So
start
we're
the sewing
actually
bee.
doing a two-part live today. So we are going to be doing the introduction of the new quilt that Paula and I are going to be teaching you. It's called the Sewing Bee Quilt. And then, so part one is just kind of an introduction, an overview, and then the cutting. And so Paula and I are going to go through that with you. And then we're going to call Patrick in, and we are going to finish mystery today.
I can't wait.
All right.
That's going to be fun. I get to applique today.
Get your secret
Oh, boy. Got the right foot on so we can see what he's doing.
ready. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
better check
I'm going
it
to show him the
out.
quilt.
I got it for you.
Oh, you do?
Okay.
I got my assistants.
Okay, yep.
Oh, yeah, we got another quilt to show. This one is gorgeous, by the way.
Comment sold is at 2 o'clock. It's our Facebook Live on Friday.
Isn't that beautiful, everybody?
Go
This
ahead,
is
Paula.
This is the new, my new block of the month for 2025. It's called Rocky Mountain Sampler. It's got 12 blocks, and it turned out pretty cute, I think.
I love
So it takes 12 fat quarters, an inner border, an outer border, binding, and background. And there's 12 blocks. There are kits available. It is $79.99, and we're going to start it the last week of January. We'll do a block a month again, just like we did this year.
Woohoo! Another very, very cool quilt, by the way.
It's
And this
pretty
pattern
fun.
is gonna be-
The free pattern, it's a free pattern. We'll release it one block a month, every month, the day that we do Facebook Live on our calendar.
I love
And
this fabric.
I do too.
Yeah,
Isn't that cool? It just
yeah.
accents everything perfect.
Well, that's kind of what we picked first, and
Well,
then
I know.
matched
I
everything
know,
to
but I
it.
really
Yeah,
do like what
Yeah,
we
it
showed.
turned out
Yeah,
really
yeah,
cool. Yeah, it's
yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Very nice, Paula.
I can't
Buy a
remember the
kit.
size.
It's very cool. You guys are going to love this.
$79.
$79.
Yep,
not bad at all
for the
a
kit.
quilt.
And we'll show that again, and then the kits are available. So we will start that the last week of January.
Okay. Are you ready?
Ready?
Okay.
Okay, let's do
All right,
this.
you guys
Let's
have
do it.
fun.
Do it. Should we go over there
Ongoing.
in front of that quilt?
Let's go over in front of the quilt first of all.
I'm going to put my hand up here while we menander over here. The kits for the block of the month are up on the website, or you can call the store and pay for one, or we can put one aside for you.
Okay, so this is a quilt that I saw out at the H&H show last May, and we've been waiting this long for it to come out. It's absolutely beautiful. It works from a panel. So there is a panel that has these two blocks in. This is not applique. It's made to look like applique, but it's not applique. So it does work from a panel. The flowers across this top border right here are all pieced, as is this section right here. And then it is all put together with the star blocks that go all the way through the quilt and all the way around the outer edge.
And those are 6-inch blocks, those star blocks.
They are 6-inch blocks. So we are going to go through over on the cutting table. So this is something that is being done on YouTube video every Monday for the next 12 weeks by the creator of this quilt. Her name is Jill. And Paula and I will be following along, and we will be teaching it per her instructions, but we will be doing it as a Facebook Live once a week for the next 12 weeks. So we're going to look a little bit deeper about how we're going to break that out and how we're going to teach that to you all. And we hope that you will join us in doing this quilt.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go
Okay.
take a look at what we have.
These panels are, I believe, 20 inches-ish, right around. Somebody asked? Yes. Okay, and then the long blocks across the top and across the bottom are actually pieced blocks as well. Okay, we're going to go to the cutting table. This is going to be super fun. Okay.
Do you want to come
Yes.
by the side of me?
So we're on the same
Okay.
side.
So in order to participate with this, you will need to purchase the pattern. And the pattern is $14 and it is called the Sewing Bee. This quilt is a finished size of 64 by 78. So it's a good size, okay? This is by Jillily Studio, and Jill Finley is the author and creator of this quilt. And she did do her first session on this on Monday, okay? We also have a complete fabric kit available. And so let's take a look at the fabric kit. In the fabric kit, you get one panel. And so here is the panel that you get, okay?
And there's 2 parts to it.
There is 2 parts to it.
Michelle, I'm not sure if we're going to, I don't know if we're going to have any panels left over after we make all the kits. I don't believe so. But we can write you down for it. So if there is an extra panel left over, we can let you know.
Then there is a fat quarter bundle of the perennial fabric. And this is the complete line of the perennial fabric. It's a collection of blacks, reds, blues, greens, and pinks.
Yeah.
Okay.
So pretty.
So you in your bundle, you will get a fat quarter of each one of these fabrics. Then also in your bundle, you will get 3.5 yards of a white background, and this is probably not going to show it up on the camera, but this does have like a tiny little dot in there.
Can't really see it, but it's a tiny little dot.
It's a Riley Blake white on white. And then there is a sashing fabric, which I'm just going to pull this out. This is your sashing fabric. We're going to talk a little bit more about this fabric here in just a few minutes, because Riley Blake is in a back order situation on this fabric, okay? But if you purchased a kit, you should have got 1 1/3 yards of sashing fabric. The fabric that's used for the sashing is also one of the fat quarters in the bundle.
Right.
So it is a duplication.
Dana, you can still buy a kit.
And then we have this fabric right here. This is 5/8 of a yard. It's called the Heart Scallop. And it's a scallop pattern made of tiny little hearts. And this is your binding fabric. And likewise, there is also a fat quarter of that same fabric. And then Jill explains that the panel, you'll notice that there was no yellow in the fat quarter bundle, but when we look at our panel, there is yellow in the panel. So Jill wanted to add a little touch of yellow into the star blocks that go all the way around the outside. So if you purchased a kit, you would have received 1/8 of a yard of a yellow fabric. And this is the fabric that we chose.
Okay. So
And
pretty.
then in addition to that, you will be using some rickrack that is not in your kit. So we will be using some green rickrack, and that is used for some of the stems on the flowers.
And that is not included in the kit.
And that is not included in the kit.
Okay.
And then we also do have an optional backing kit, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Okay? So let's take a look at these directions. So these directions can look a little overwhelming, but you just need to take it slowly. Read all the words.
Read all the words. That's a joke around the store. You have to read all the words.
Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the 12-week program and the sew-along that Jill's doing, which we are following along directly on Jill's schedule, okay? So week 1, which is where we are today, is the introduction and cutting.
Okay.
So we are going to start that today. Week 2 is some of your star blocks, as is week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6, and week 7. So there is different star blocks. They're put together differently.
There's 6 different star blocks and there's 9 of each one.
There's 8 of one of them.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
but 9 of most of them and 8
of one. Okay. Well, you know, we got to keep that into consideration.
Yeah. Then we have what we call our tulip blocks. Do you think we should go back over to the quilt
Sure.
to show this?
And those are the
Okay.
big, long, rectangular piece blocks.
Let's go back over to the quilt.
Ernie, when you're saying dark green, are you talking like fabric? Yeah, the fabric bundle does include different shades of green, some light green and some dark green.
Okay, so we talked about the stars. So you can see this star block is different from this star block, okay?
And it's different from
It's different from
this one and different from that one.
Yep.
Different
and they
from
are
that
all
one.
scrappy. It really doesn't look scrappy, but it is a scrappy star collection. Okay? Okay, so week 8 is when we make the tulips. This is your tulip block right here. So we have a tulip here, and then we have 2 tulips here. And then if we go down to this border, we have more tulips down here. So that will be our week 8.
Okay.
Week 9 is, we need to make a total of 6 tulips. Week 9 is our daisies. These are our daisy blocks.
And they're out of 2 different pinks.
We have a total of 8 of those. 4 for this panel and 4 for this panel. And like Paula just said, those are out of 2 different pinks. And then there's a tiny, tiny little black center.
Teeny,
Yes,
weeny,
teeny,
weeny,
teeny, teeny.
weeny, tiny. Okay.
Okay, and then we have the hydrangeas. And those are these guys made out of 2 different blues. We are going to make a total of 18 of those.
Okay.
That's week 10. Week 11, we will put, this is called a garden block. We're going to put this whole panel piece here and this one right here together. So we will be sewing the hydrangeas. We'll be putting a background fabric on top, putting it to a pansy, attaching it to a tulip.
daisy.
A daisy, I'm sorry. Attaching it to a tulip, attaching it, and so forth. So we will put together those 2 long garden blocks.
I'm super excited for that. I think that's going to be fun.
Week 12 is sashing and assembly.
Okay.
Okay, so now we get to go back to the cutting table.
Okay. And the
Okay.
cost on this is $139.99 for the top and the binding.
Correct. And then whilst we have you here,
Let's do
I'm going
that.
to show you our backing fabric. I did put this up online also. This is the backing fabric that we chose. It needs 5 yards of fabric for your backing, and the kit fee for the backing fabric is $59.99. But I think that fabric has got that really pretty periwinkle in
Yes,
it, and I think
yes.
it goes well.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Yeah.
Okay.
So that is separate.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, here we go. Ba-da-bum, ba-da-bum, ba-da-bum. So this again is a 12-week project. We're going to do it every week for 12 weeks. This week we're just going to go over the cutting, and then next week we're going to start working on the star blocks.
Okay, so we are not going to cut everything with you today. We're going to pick and choose what we actually cut. But the cutting will start on page 1, and it's right under the schedule of the blocks. So we're going to go into the cutting. And the first thing it tells us to do is to take our panel And we are going to go ahead and we're going to set the panel aside. We don't cut it yet, okay?
No, not once a month, Patty. We're going to do this once a week for 12 weeks.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah,
to interrupt.
no, you're not interrupting.
This is going to be a bonsai quilt.
Yes.
12 weeks.
Out of the white. So what we're going to do, and now I cannot stress enough that organization for this is going to be key.
Yes.
And Paula and I think very alike when we look at planning our quilts and so forth. And we definitely recommend that every one of these pieces is labeled and pinned to the fabric that you cut.
Or use little stickers or something.
Absolutely.
And then bag them up.
So these are not letters or numbers, so we cannot really use like the letter or the number clips, okay? So you will need to label these.
Get out your labels you use in your printer, your sticky labels.
Absolutely. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our white fabric and we're going to lay it out so that we have the selvage right in front of us. And we have the fold of the fabric up here. The first thing I'm going to do is to square up my left side. Now, the white fabric does have a lot of cuts. And Paula and I were discussing this morning, and we both actually do the exact same thing. When you have this many cuts to make, what we do is we look for a common number. So, and it's really nice.
This is actually really organized.
It's very organized.
Yeah.
She's actually done this for you. So here it says that we need a quantity. If it's in brackets, that's the quantity you need. So we need a quantity of 2 squares that are 5.5 by 5.5. We need 2 that are 5.5 by 3.5. We need 2 that are 5.5 by 3. So let me show you how we would do this.
So instead of just cutting 2 5.5-inch squares and then 5.5-inch rectangles, make better use of your fabric and save yourself a lot of time.
So we're going to cut a strip.
And if you can cut with both hands, it's a bonus, just like Kate does.
Okay, so we have a 5.5-inch strip.
And then you're going to cross cut.
And then we're going to cut off our selvage. And my first cut is 2 that are 5.5. Remember, I've got 2 layers of fabric here. So here's what I would do. I would do 2 5.5 by 5.5.
Rosie,
That is my first label.
Oh, perfect. Rosie, in the pattern, she did not label A, B, C, D, and all that. She only gave measurements. So if you want to go through and add letters and stuff, you can. Or you can just write it like Kate did and just write the measurements.
Okay, my next one is 2 pieces that are 5.5 by 3.5. So I've got a quantity of 2 5.5 by 3.5.
So put on some good 80s music and get ready to cut and label.
And the next one is 5.5 by 3 inches.
Rosie, actually, directional's really not going to be that big of a deal. A couple of the fabrics are directional, but the pieces and the stars are going to be pretty small. So really, truly, directional's not going to be a big deal. And the background, of course, is not directional.
Okay, my next cut is 4 pieces that are 5.5 by 2.5. So this time I need to make 2 cuts because I need a total of 4. So I need 4 5.5 by 2.5. And as you can see, you're going to, I just got up to here, okay? So, and then you're going to keep going down. You're paying attention to the quantity over here. Now, if you need to make another subcut of 5.5 inch strip, you would make another cut for 5.5 inches. And then once I've got the remainder of these cuts out, I would then take my 5.5 inch and I would trim it down to a 4.5 inch. And then I start on all of my 4.5 inches.
Yep.
And you keep going down. She has them so organized for you.
Which is really kind of amazing.
They don't normally do that.
They often do not. They
Yes.
kind of do it in order of use, which isn't always as friendly
Yeah,
to cut.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So she's made it very easy for you to go through. So you will go through. It's going to be labor intensive, but you're going to go through and you're going to make all of your cuts for your white.
Okay.
Okay. And then if you have little chunks left over of strips that you haven't used, when you get down to these tiny little pieces, 1.5 by 1s, 1.5 by 1.5, you don't necessarily need to cut strip sets on those. You can probably use up some of your little scraps.
You're probably going to use up most of those scraps,
Yeah,
cutting those little
absolutely.
pieces. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
So check those before you cut your little strips.
Okay, everybody got that?
Yeah.
Everybody cut on their white? Everybody's all done, right?
Yeah, everybody's done. Let's do it.
Okay.
This is where you put on a really good movie or some good music.
I love cutting.
When I'm in the mood, I can cut a whole quilt's worth of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I'm going to set those on top of that.
because we're going to need those for ours.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. The next one is a fabric that we're going to talk a little bit about.
Okay. Barb, there are a lot of pieces in this quilt, that is for sure, but we're going to talk about it.
This is the Blue Queen print. This is the sashing fabric. This is the fabric that Riley Blake has been out of since the beginning of December. The original kits that went out from Above and Beyond were complete, and they did have the fat quarter that you needed, and they also had the sashing fabric that you needed. If you have got a kit within the last probably 2 to 3 weeks, I would say, you probably have a piece of paper inside your kit that tells you that you are missing this fabric, and that we will ship it to you when it comes in, which we are being told now is January 25th is when Riley Blake is going to get it back in stock. Okay.
Fingers crossed.
So that is what we're looking at for that.
Okay.
However, at this point, we no longer have this fabric for the fat quarter. So that has been more of a challenge for us, because the sashing, the 1 1/3 of sashing, we're not going to need until the end of March. Okay, but the fat quarter we do need to be able to make our blocks.
Right.
Okay, so Paula and I came up with a substitution. Now, we're not substituting the sashing. We will still wait on your sashing,
right,
so everybody will have the right sashing. But this is the fabric that we substituted for the blocks themselves.
For the fat quarter.
For the fat quarter. So if you're ordering a kit now, or you have agreed to a substitution, you will have another light blue fabric as a substitution.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. And it's real pretty with it. It's right along the same blues.
Absolutely.
Okay. So
Okay,
now we're going to talk about...
If you have that fabric in your kits and you want to get your sashing pre-cut, you are going to need 28 strips that are 1.5 inches by width of fabric.
Okay.
But those are going to get set aside until the end of March.
And you don't have to cut those now. You can wait and cut those at the end.
Absolutely. Likewise with your binding.
Right.
This is our binding fabric. And you need 8 strips that are 2 1/4 inches.
Okay.
And likewise, you can hold off on cutting that, or you can cut it now, whichever you would rather do. Okay, so that is our background fabric and our sashing and our binding.
Okay.
And now the fun starts.
Now we get to start cutting for the blocks.
Okay, so let's grab our fat quarter bundle. Here is our fat quarter bundle. And when we look at these directions, it tells us from a red print. Now there is no right or wrong, but Paula and I, admittedly, we kind of look at the pattern and we want it to be the same. So we are pretty much picking the same fabrics that Jill picked. From a red print for the tulips, we need to pull this fabric out of our fat quarter bundle, and we're going to set that aside for the tulips.
Okay.
Also for the tulips, we need a pink print. So this is the red and pink for the tulips. I'm going to set that aside.
Set those aside. Okay.
The next one is our daisies. For the daisies, we need a red print.
Okay.
And we need a pink print. This is my 2 daisy fabrics.
Okay.
Oh, there it is.
Set those aside. Okay.
Yeah, that's all I.
Next, I need a black print.
Yes, please.
My black print is for the center of my daisies. I'm actually going to put that with my daisy fabrics right here. Then we have the hydrangeas. And this one we need 2 different blue prints. And Jill did use her sashing fabric. You don't have to. You can pick any of these fat quarters. It's totally up to you. But these are the 2 fabrics that Jill chose and Paula and I have chosen for our hydrangeas.
And if you don't have this in your kit, that's what the substituted blue is.
Yes. So those are the hydrangeas. Then from the green print, we need a tulip leaf.
We just pick the one. Yeah.
And this is the tulip leaf fabric.
Okay. I love that fabric.
And then we have a daisy leaf fabric. This one is the daisy leaf fabric.
Okay.
Now we're going to go
So
ahead.
we set those aside.
Were we going to cut one of those?
We were going to cut those, a couple
Okay.
of those.
Okay.
And then we're going to talk about these.
Okay, so out of the tulip fabric, we need 12, the first red, we need 12 rectangles that are 2 by 5 inches. As you can imagine, out of a fat quarter, if I'm cutting 12 rectangles that are 2 by 5, I'm going to have a substantial chunk of this fabric left.
Mm-hmm.
And I am going to cut my 12 2 by 5s. I'm going to put them in a baggie that says tulips.
2 by 5.
2 by 5. Anything left over is going to go back over beside my fat quarter bundle.
Okay. Because we are going to cut the rest of this up to use in the star blocks.
Correct. We will be using the excess fabric from our flowers.
So from all of these fat quarters is the same thing.
So the next one is 6 squares that are 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. And as you can imagine,
That's
out
this
of
one
this,
here. From this pink print.
yep,
Mm-hmm.
6 2.5 by 2.5.
That's going to take one strip.
I'm barely cutting into this fat quarter. I have all of this fabric left over. This is going to get labeled in a baggie for my tulips. The rest of this fat quarter is going to go back over. I wouldn't put it in the same pile as your uncut fat quarters, but I would put it in another pile right next to my fat quarters.
Because again, you're going to cut the rest of this up to be part of the star blocks.
Okay.
And you're going to do the same thing with all of these fat quarters.
So you are going to go through and cut exactly what it tells you that you need to cut from each of the colors.
Okay.
This cut right here is all for what we call the garden sections. Those are the pieced flower segments.
The long rectangles.
The long rectangles. This piece right here.
Yep.
And this piece right here. That's what these cuts are going to give me.
That's going to be so satisfying to sew those
Yes.
flowers and then sew those flowers together.
Okay.
I love that.
So what we have left is the remainder of my fat quarter bundle. And I have my yellow.
Okay.
Okay. The yellow is just going to get set aside for just a moment. So now I need 12 fat quarters. I have, I believe, 13. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Oh, we got to set aside
Okay.
those whites.
So there is a white on white fat quarter that we're going to set aside for right now. And then the white with the bees is not used. So this one is not used in the quilt.
So take it out. Put it
Take
in
it
your
out.
stash.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that leaves me 13, and I need 12. Pick which one is your least favorite and set it aside. Doesn't make any difference. Paula and I both agree we're going to pull a black out.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a preference? I think I like that one.
That's the thing, is they're all pretty.
They are all pretty.
Maybe my only thinking is with this one, when you cut the little pieces for the star blocks, you might lose some
You
points
might.
and stuff, but it'd be nice to have it for the bigger centers of the blocks. Some of the blocks have
You
it
have
like
to
a
make a
bigger
decision.
center. Well, I don't want to make a decision.
No, they won't.
I would probably cut them all up and then just not use all the pieces.
Okay, we have to pull one out.
'Kay.
Somebody tell us which one to pull out. We need one.
Sure, go ahead.
Pull out this one.
Okay,
Okay. Be gone.
be gone. So these two coordinate really nice for
They do.
another project.
That's true.
So these two will not be used in the quilt. We have made a decision.
Okay.
We pulled the solid white one out. We're going to cut that in just a few minutes.
Not solid. It's white on white.
White on
print.
white. Okay.
One quick question. Barb, Kate and I talked about that this morning, actually. AccuQuilt. You could accept that you want to make sure when you use AccuQuilt, you use a little bit more fabric, and you just need to watch that you don't run out of fabric.
I don't know how close these cuts are going to be. Okay.
Oh, everybody else is saying take out the words.
That was the one I was going to take
Okay,
off.
well, do
Take out the
whatever
words?
you want to do.
Okay.
I don't really
We'll
have a
go with
preference.
the majority.
Okay.
So we've got 12 absolutely beautiful fat quarters in here.
Okay.
We're going to cut all 12 of these identical. And because we're cutting them identically, we can stack them.
But we're not going to stack all of them.
No, do not stack all 12. You will have major problems. I would either do 3 at a time and do 4 sets, or you could probably do 4 at a time and do 3 lots of cuts.
Or you could do 2 at a time and do 6 sets.
What would you rather do?
I personally would probably do 3, but I think cutting layers makes some people really nervous. So
Okay.
cutting 2 is a really safe bet.
Okay, we're going to cut greens then today.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to take all 3 of these. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a quick walk over to the iron. Do you want to grab something to put in front of the camera? And we're going to press these real quick.
Okay, the iron probably needs to be turned back on. It probably went off.
You can just grab a piece of fabric.
Oh, here, let's look at this pretty green fabric while we walk over to the iron.
And I will let Paula know that. And then I will find out, Pam, about.
Okay, so we really don't want to cut these fabrics with all of these creases in them.
Right.
So do take the time
86.79, and you want that.
to press these.
Barb, you could put a little bit of light starch on them if you want to before you cut. Some people do and some people don't. I just steam the heck out of everything, make sure it's nice and flat.
Do you want to show them how the star blocks are done in like color groupings?
Sure.
Like I'm cutting greens together.
Sure.
And they're actually going to get sewn together as
Yep.
greens?
Yep. So what you're going to do is after we cut today, we're going to show you how you can like stack them and collect each fabric by size. And then for each star, you're going to pick like a center square, and then you're going to pick something that coordinates for these points. And then you're going to pick a third one for like these squares here. So all of the stars are scrappy, but each star all by itself has a plan. Use the same, oh, don't look at that one. That's when I was learning how to quilt with a ruler. Let's not look at that one. So you like this one, you're going to need 4 blues. So you'd pick a blue center, and then you would pick the 4 corners, and then you would pick a blue to go there, and then you would pick a blue to go in the 4 corners. So the stars themselves are scrappy, but each star has a plan. And so as we start building the stars, we're going to grab 1 of those and 4 of those and 8 of those and 4 of those to make each star. So really, when you break it down step by step, take it step by step and read all the words, pick all the pieces, it's not as overwhelming. So don't let it make you nervous.
And then a couple of the stars, we have like the added yellow in there.
Right.
And
exactly.
That's
what I was just going to say.
to bring it all together. So just every so often, you're going to see a spot of yellow. Not a whole lot.
So as we start building the stars, we're going to say, oh, maybe a yellow would look good in this star, and we'll go to our little yellow strip. We'll cut that piece.
I can see us making extra stars and then using some and not using some.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so we're going to go back over to the cutting table.
Okay. Got our green fabric back here. You're not going to have time to do your mystery today.
Pardon?
You're not going to have time to do your mystery today.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, it's 10 till.
Oh, is it really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we probably should do it tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Okay, so
she's got a diagram.
okay, I've got a problem. I've got this as my rotary cutter.
Oh, that's not going to work very well.
No, it's not.
So she's got a diagram for all of these fat quarters that you're going to cut.
But the diagram is going to go, do you want to come this way so they can see? So even though it's printed this way, my fat quarter is going this way, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off my selvage edge.
Square up your edge. Mm-hmm. And we've all decided we wish we could cut with both hands like you do. I would be afraid to even try to make myself learn how to do that.
Okay, so out of the 12 full fat quarters, you're going to cut the exact same cuts. We want 8 rows that are 2 inches wide. So 8 rows that are 2 inches.
Oh, we gotta put a laser on.
Rose, we're just waiting on that one blue fabric, but we're substituting the one for the fat quarter so that we can get the kits sent out. And then when that blue fabric comes in about 3 weeks for the sashing and border, we will send that out to you.
How many have I cut?
I can't count and read comments at the same time.
So I need 8 and I've got 5.
Okay.
Six.
1, 2, 3, 4. You right? Are you sure?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Because you need a 3.5 inch strip too, so it's gonna be.
Yep.
Okay.
7 and 8. So I need 8 2-inch strips.
Then you're
8
gonna
rows.
cross cut.
Then I'm going to cross cut. So I'm going to just pull this out of the way and
Okay.
set it aside. And now I'm going to cross cut. So I'm actually going to remove my last 2 strips because I'm only going to cross cut 6 of them, okay?
Okay.
So now I'm going to even this up on an inch. And I'm going to cross cut these into 2-inch segments.
You know, one way to look at this is by like the end of March, when we're kind of wrapping this up. It's like springtime.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like a
reward.
a reward. It's like a winter blitz. Like you work on it, and then poof, when you're done, it's springtime. So during the dreary February days, you have pretty flower blocks, and star blocks, and stuff to keep you busy. Because I don't know about y'all, but right around February, I start getting pretty darn sick of the dreariness. Okay.
So these are our 2-inch squares, and there's 1 of each fabric.
Okay.
And I have 6 rows across, 8 deep. That gives me a total of 48 squares from each fat quarter.
And when we go back and we bundle these up, we're going to separate them into colors. And
No, we're not.
Oh, we're doing it by measurements. That's right.
Yes.
We talked about this.
Yeah.
So much information.
Okay. 2-inch squares
Okay.
from 3 of my fat quarters.
Okay.
Now I have these 2-inch strips that need to get subcut into 2 by 3.5.
And we're going to cut a total of 8 from each one.
So that's 2.
Wait a minute. Is that right?
Yes, it is. 3.5, 7.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's okay.
Check twice, cut once.
We'll have a Paula right by the side of you to make sure that you don't make a mistake. 10.5 and 14.
Okay.
So I've got 8, 2 by 3.5. Okay, what I would do personally with this, I would make a bag that says extras.
2-inch strips or something. Yeah.
Uh-huh. So that if I find that I've missed a 2-inch square, or I dropped it on the floor, or it fell behind my machine, or whatever the case is, I've got some little scraps that I can go back and get afterwards.
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
So that was my 8 rows of 2 inches. They got cut into 2 by 2s and 2 by 3.5s. I need 1 row that is 3.5 inches.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.5.
10-inch square.
And look at that. Good use of fabric.
Now, I use that in Aurora, correct? And so if it was...
So 3.5.
I know
And that is going to get subcut into 3.5 inch squares,
That sounds like something that would.
which are going to become our center of our blocks.
Okay.
So 1,
Well,
Thank you for comment, though.
it's gonna
On this
2,
project, how can I help you?
okay. And, I
3.
will check
3.
with
Okay.
Kate to make
You know,
That's a 3.5 inch. Okay. Next, I need 8 1.5 inch squares.
But
Okay.
let me get in here.
You'll vacuum hoses on the upholstery.
I gotta get the number on the layer.
We've got very little
10
vacuum
inch.
parts left.
So it's a 10-inch cut and finish is 9.5. Is that the right one for you? Or did you need, okay.
But
So,
yeah,
and
it's located in the field on
Stay
the
off.
street.
Rose,
How many
yes.
do I need?
You need 8
And that's
1.5 inch squares.
Strip is going to cut at 5 and finish 4.5. Are you wanting
And
a
then-
5-inch
Remember we
finish
talked about this.
strip or a 5-inch cut strip? Then it would finish at 4.5.
Okay, that little piece that we had left over, we're actually going to need
Okay.
that.
All right.
So you are using every bit of your
Hold
fabric.
on just a minute.
So we're gonna cut 8 1.5 inch squares.
Would you be able to, when would you be able to drop a go cutter off to, it's in the middle tent, so it'll be in the tent.
So see, if you were to use an AccuQuilt cutter,
I don't think you'd have enough.
you would not
fabric.
have enough fabric. So really, you're gonna have to cut with your ruler and your rotary cutter because there is no extra.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yes,
Okay.
That's my 1.5s.
I just wanted to make sure I was doing this
And
right.
then I need a couple more 2-inch squares. I think they're actually just having you use up the rest of your fabric. I really do.
Okay, but
Okay.
I will have to order that.
And put that with your 2-inch
And-
squares.
That was stacked double, so I've actually got the 2 inches. So that goes with my 2-inch by 2-inch.
Okay.
Okay, so that was my fat quarter, and this is
And
literally
that's what's left.
What's left. So nothing.
Yeah.
I maybe have enough to get my 1.5s out of there.
If
maybe.
you miscut or something
Yeah.
like that. So be super, super careful when you cut.
Yep. So I am going to keep that
measure
just
before
in
you
case.
cut. Yep.
I am going to keep it just in case.
Because I have been known to sew little strips like that together to cut like a 3-inch square out of it.
Absolutely. Okay, so you're going to repeat that process for all 12 of your fat quarters.
Okay.
Okay. Now, let's go back to the garden flower blocks where we had the tulips. Okay? Do you remember the tulips? This particular one, we needed 6 2.5-inch squares, and then we were going to have a big chunk left over, right?
Right.
So, out of your garden flower fat quarters, you're going to have some cuts that you need to make. And then you are going to take the remainder of that fat quarter bundle and you are going to keep it set aside. Now you have to do cuts with those.
Okay.
These are called your partial fat quarter bundles.
Okay.
Left over from cutting your garden sections.
One of those coming
Okay.
also.
Out of each one of those fat quarters, not just one fat quarter, you need to cut it out of each of the fat quarters.
One of those little
You are then going to cut 2 squares, 3.5 by 3.5, and you're going to follow down and cut. Now
And you should have enough.
you should have
You
enough.
should have plenty.
And she gives you the cut
The diagram.
direction right here.
Okay.
Okay, so in addition to cutting your daisies, your hydrangeas, your leaves, you're also going to cut your partial fat quarter cuts out of those.
Yep.
Okay, the white on white. This was the really pretty tone on tone white. This is actually going to be cut into 4 strips that are 2 inches by 20.5 inches.
Okay.
Okay.
And then set those aside because you're going to need them later.
Okay. So for your star blocks, you have 4 different size cuts. You need to get 4 bags and label each bag 3.5 by 3.5, 3.5 by 2, 2 by 2s, 1.5 by 1.5. And when you have cut all of your pieces, they're going to go into one of those bags. This is just like Paula was saying earlier, it's like a random pick and choose. You're going to pick out of the bag. So when we get to sewing these star blocks, it will make more sense because it will tell us that you need 8 of these little ones. It might tell us we only need 1 of this because this is going to be the center of the block. It might tell us, I'm guessing, that we need 4 of these and maybe like 8 of these. I don't know the numbers exactly, but you will pick and choose your different your fabrics based on the star that you're doing. So we'll put 3 blues together, or and then we'll be using background fabric too.
Right.
So don't forget, all of those whites are going to get labeled. I have either put in a baggie or in a pin with the piece of paper on the cut size on them.
Right.
Okay.
You can do this. You can do this, you guys. You can do it.
Yes, you can. And so we will be starting next week with Star Block A.
Excellent.
Yep, and we're going to make 9 of those. And just because it shows it pink and red here doesn't mean that we have to do pinks and reds. We may choose to do this style of star in greens. We don't.
And a black and a blue and
Yeah,
we'll probably.
uh-huh.
I'm sure we're
Multiples.
gonna make it in all different colors. That's
Because-
what makes it scrappy.
Yeah, because you need 9 of these.
Right.
So we might do 2 pinks, 2
Blues.
greens, and 2 blacks,
Right.
and whatever else we come up with.
Right.
So we are excited to stitch along with you.
Yes.
Super exciting.
It's gonna be fun. Get ready to blitz, man. We're gonna blitz.
We are. So I think we're going to hold off on mystery because we didn't realize that it was going to take us this long. Do we still have lots of people on?
We have 96 people.
Okay, I do have a manager special. So
Okay.
should we go ahead and
Yeah,
do
let's
the
do that.
manager special?
Yeah.
The grand total here, because I gave you the sale price.
And we'll show your quilt again too, Paula.
Okay.
So the manager special is actually some Floriani thread.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. These were a special October promotion for breast cancer.
Oh.
And it is 18 spools of all different pinks. And they're all different shades of pink. And if you were to do the math, the 18 spools of thread come up to $97.35. And we are doing 60% off.
Holy moly. Actually, really, guys, you only have 2 because I've already claimed one. No, I'm just kidding.
60% off. And so they'll be $35. And I have 3 boxes to offer.
Okay.
$35.
$35. For how many spools? 18. Okay, we're going to hang on here so we can see if there's any of y'all want to. Okay, Linda Wilkie wants one. Renee Adams wants one. I got to write them down. We have 1 left. The next name I see that wants it. Linda Wilkie, Renee Adams. Wow, that's a screaming deal. And Tammy Leggett. Okay. Going, gone. Linda, Renee, and Tammy. That's all we have, guys. Sorry. Okay.
I'm going to let you do the talking.
Okay. This is the 2025 block of the month called Rocky Mountain Sampler. We will start this at the end of January. We're going to do 1 block a month. The blocks are free. The pattern is free. And we'll post it when we do each block each month. It takes background fabric, 12 fat quarters for the blocks. And I just want to point out what the block is. This, okay, I got to hold the camera and do this at the same time. This is the block. So these triangles are part of the blocks, but then when you put all the blocks together, that's what creates this secondary design. So it kind of looks like this is a block and this is a block, but really these are the blocks. And then when you put the blocks together, that's what creates the secondary design. So we'll be doing 1 block a month and it's going to be super fun. Yeah, the kits are available. They're $79.99. And just, you can go online and purchase it, or you can call the store and purchase it, and we will get it mailed out to you.
And the kit includes everything for the top
And the binding. Yep. just not the backing.
We'll probably have a backing kit for you too.
We probably will.
We haven't got that far.
No, but we can probably show it when I show the first block next at the end of the month. They are 12-inch blocks, Pam. And is that all? Is that it? Is that everything? Goodness gracious.
For tomorrow. Sorry about
Okay.
that. I didn't realize it was Paula talked too much.
Yeah, that's my problem.
Well,
Okay.
Thanks for joining us, everybody, and let us know if you have any questions.
Thanks, everybody.
See you all tomorrow.
One person asked a quick question. Can they watch Jill's and ours? Jill's doing hers every Monday
On
on YouTube. Jill Lily Studios is
Jill and Lily.
Jill Lily
Jill Lily. Yeah.
Studios is on YouTube on Mondays, and then we will be doing ours different days of the week.
Depending what our availability is.
Exactly.
We will do it on a day that both of us are here together.
Right.
Because we are going to do this as a team effort.
Right. So come join the party.
Yes.
Okay.
Super excited.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Oops.